Now let's look at the politics from the outgoing CDC director in terms of the CDC COVID pandemic response. There are four major messages that the Biden administration wants to get across. Number one, Dr. Walensky and the Biden administration got us on the other side of the pandemic. Number two, within weeks of her appointment, the CDC director created a plan to get 100,000 kids back into school for in-person learning. Number three, they put the vaccine in over 676 million Americans' arms. And number four, the aggregate number of COVID tests is close to 1 billion. My opinion on the first point, the COVID pandemic is not over and it is still ongoing. The Biden administration has slashed the CDC's heels because without the declaration of a public health emergency, they do not have the authority, they are not allowed to collect COVID data to continue tracking. For point number two, getting kids back in school. This was clearly a political maneuver for Biden to put a feather in his cap. As dictated in the testimony on February 3rd, 2021, the CDC claimed that schools were safe to reopen without the need for teachers to be vaccinated and with no masking guidelines. At the time, there was no studies to show that this is something that was safe. There was no research backing for this decision. And later on, they found a study in Sweden that looked at teachers that did in-person learning versus ones that did not. And they found that these teachers that were doing in-person learning were over 2 times more likely to have caught COVID than those that were not. For the vaccination number, this is not impressive. The CDC is currently considering 1 dose fully vaccinated. So the fully vaccinated population is around 80%, with 2 doses being 70% and 3 doses or more being around 30%. And as we've seen the COVID virus mutate over time, the initial dose vaccines are not as effective against the newer Omicron variant, with original doses becoming near ineffective after about a year and booster doses becoming near ineffective after about 6 to 8 months. Similarly, for COVID tests, while they got a lot out initially, these were never updated. Everybody in the world, allowed the virus to mutate, and recent studies have shown that the original tests being used today in order to test for the Omicron variants if a person is positive is around 50% accuracy or less. And as the virus continues to mutate, these are going to get worse over time. I'm going to cut off here and then do a politics part 2.